Welcome to the show. It is time to breathe again on the latest Fresh Air Webcast, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I am your host, Charles Taylor, and Patrick Brackett should be with me here in a few minutes. He just sent me a text saying he would be maybe 4 or 5 minutes late. So whenever he can join us, we will see him. And of course, we have a lot to discuss. Well, maybe not too much. We'll see how the show goes. You know how kind of go off one end or the other when we get together. So, uh, again, Patrick will be here. He'll be here in a few minutes, and glad to have him. So, outside of that, let's jump into a few of these topics, and we'll start with some of these football deals, some of these contracts that were signed, mainly the two by the quarterbacks. One was signed by Tua Tagovailoa for the Miami Dolphins, and that was followed up by Green Bay Packers signing Jordan Love to a huge contract extension as well. So we'll start with those things, and when Patrick gets in, then he'll give his thoughts as well, and then we'll get into some of the other topics. Major League Baseball's trade deadline is one, and then we'll discuss the NBA and the battle that is going on for TV rights starting in the year 2025. But going back to the contract signed by Tua Tagovailoa and Jordan Love. But I mean, it's one of those things where huge deals are coming in the NFL and any of these sports. It seems like it's monopoly money at this point for the NFL. You've heard us talk about how this is a $20 to $25 billion per year industry now, and with that comes the skyrocketing contracts that are happening, particularly for quarterbacks. Now, we can dive in a lot of different directions. We have even talked in previous weeks about the astronomical deals that are being signed by the quarterbacks when Trevor Lawrence was signed for his big deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But what I don't think can be the excuse as to why these quarterbacks are getting deals is like it can't be, oh, it's the market value. That's what these quarterbacks are going with. And Tua and Jordan were just the next in line. They're going to get their deals because it's just their time. I just feel that is a cop-out excuse. I think it's a lame excuse. I don't think that should justify anything. Because if that's the case, why do we have people in the front office? Why do we have people in management positions to make these decisions about who gets the money and who gets paid? Now, don't get me wrong. Like we just said, this is a multi-billion dollar industry. So it's not like the money isn't there. The money is there. All these players can get paid a great amount because the money is there to pay everybody. When you're making, when you're a 20 to 25 billion-dollar industry, then there's not a lack for money. And let's remember what a billion is. Like, a billion is 1,000 million. So let's think about that for a minute and understand that in the context of how much the NFL brings in through whatever ticket sales, concessions. Obviously, the TV rights are ridiculous with it as well. The deals they have with all the different networks, from NBC to CBS to Fox, ESPN/NBC, or excuse me, ESPN/ABC, the Disney Land. And then what they have for the Thursday night games with Amazon, and of course here with Google, YouTube, Sunday tickets. So there's lots and lots of money. that is hand over fist being made. It's just flying around. But if you're talking about these deals, I just don't believe it is as easy as, well, it's the market value and it was their guys' turn. Um, if if that's the case, if that's the excuse we're going to use, then I guess whoever is next in line, and if the quarterback is average, not even on the level of what maybe Tua and Jordan is, which I don't think they're that great. Even I mean, I think they're good, but they're not elite quarterbacks by any means. But if that's what we're going with, then that just means the other people, whoever's in line, they're just going to get paid regardless of how well they play. All right. Patrick is joining us here. Let's bring him in. Well, hello, Patrick.
What's up? What's up?
And
I made it.
man. Good to have you with me on the show. So what I had jumped into was talking about one of the other topics. I didn't get to tell you this because I know I sent you a text saying what we were going to talk about. But I decided, since you weren't here, we'll start with some of these deals. A couple other deals that were signed in the NFL that you heard about. Tua Tagovailoa getting paid by the Miami Dolphins, and Jordan Love got a ridiculous deal with the Green Bay Packers. Like in essence of what, 4 years, like $220 million,
$230 million.
Yeah.
Crazy like that.
So what I was saying is, a lot of what you hear when it comes to why these quarterbacks get paid, and we have talked about this a good amount of times, but the excuse cannot be, well, it's the market value and it was just their turn because they were next in line. So that means if we get some average dude, some dude who's just the fourth deal.
Well, is it my turn to make $500 million every single minute of the day? Where's my payday? I mean, what kind of excuse is that?
It's terrible, and that can't be like. Why, if that's the case, why do you have people in the front office? Why do you have people making management decisions? You should just put everybody. I'm telling you, just like what we have said for baseball in the manager, we should just have computers. Just have computers in those seats.
Have AI do it all. It's where we're going anyway. Have AI do it all, and then just be like, well, AI could go, well, they were due for their big payday. Oh, come on. To me, that's just a lame excuse to give them what they want. And to me, that's not negotiating at all. I mean, that's what that is you're opening up negotiations to say, look, because the way I see it, and and I've said this many times on our shows, the way I see it is you give them a sum, and let's say I sign somebody to a 5-year, let's say a 4-year $100 million deal, right? Well, that's $25 million a year. And you want to get to where? You want to make $50 million a year? Fantastic. You want to make $50 million a year, win me a Super Bowl? That's an extra 1.7 million or 2 million or whatever. What's going to help you get closer to that? Catch far more footballs than you did last season. Have more yards, have more tackles, do this, do that, do this. You give me something, I give you something. But I will guarantee you $100 million. There's your guarantee. $25 million a year. You want to make 50? Fantastic. I want you to make 50. I want you to make 50. But you're going to do this to get it.
There has to be some sort of incentive thrown in before you just give these crazy deals. Especially for players, again, like Tua Tagovailoa and Jordan Love are good quarterbacks, but they're by no means no means. I don't care who might want to make this argument. I don't care. They're not elite guys. And there
No.
ain't too many elite quarterbacks anyway throughout the league. So to pay them this amount of money, again, just like what we said when Trevor Lawrence got his deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars, you have to have something come from that, like a Super Bowl has to come from this.
Yeah.
It's not enough just to make this money and you're doing exactly what you were doing before you got the money. So if you're if you're Miami, you have not made it past the first round since Tua's been started. You haven't made it past the first round. You got knocked out in the wild card round every single year. Well, every season Miami has made the playoffs.
Yep.
Last year you lost to Kansas City. The year before they lost to Buffalo. And if that is the standard, what are we paying you for? That's what I'm asking. Because if you are going to continue to make it to the same level every single time or go a notch below, there's no justification for me to give you this contract. Because again, you're paying these guys. Yeah, like you're paying these guys. Again, like we get it. The past is part of it. We get it. But when you throw a deal like that to the person, you're number one saying
the future's a part of it too.
Yeah, you are committing to this guy long term to be a cornerstone, because that's what the quarterbacks are. They're the cornerstones, the foundation of the franchise. And this is the guy you want to build around, and you're counting on him to elevate those players.
Yeah.
If there's still status quo, to me, that's a waste. That is a waste.
Hey, if you're status quo, then you get status quo money.
Yeah.
you want it, because this is like I tell this to my kids. I tell this to the people that work with us. You want something different? Do something different. If you're gonna do status quo, then you get status quo money. You know what I mean? And I don't care how good you are. Status quo is $900,000 a year. You want to do status quo? Fine. Status quo. I'll pay you $900,000 a year. Hey, look, I'm all about it. You want to pay me $900,000 a year? I'm status quo all day. Hell, you can nickname me status quo. I don't care. Like, hey, there's Patrick's status quo bracket right there, man. I'll be like, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up? What's up? What do you want to do today? Status quo. And that's my middle name. Shoot. You think I'm going to do something different? Y'all are paying $900,000 a year. I'm good.
I mean, I guess looking at the different cases. So with Jordan Love, he had one good half of a year. I mean, because he wasn't playing.
He hadn't done anything.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't playing because Aaron Rodgers was eating up money and airtime with the Packers
and wasting air
before he went to the Jets. And Jordan Love, glad to see him get an opportunity, and he played well.
Yeah,
but he's your classic. This is your classic. Oh well, it was his turn. He's been in the league for 4 years. He played in one season, with the exception of one start he had when Aaron Rodgers was hurt in 2021. And I mean, I don't know. Can we get more of a sample size?
Yeah.
Before we're just going ahead and throwing all that money at people. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
and this is coming from a guy who always says it's about what you're going to do in the future. But dude,
I mean, we don't even know what you did in the past because we ain't had a past. One and two, you ain't done nothing in the present. So I mean, hell, look, I'll even put it this way: Popeyes even has a run through before they open the doors. That's all I'm saying, and that's free food. And you know I'm about free food. I'm from Georgia. So when they say free food, I'm first in line. I don't care where it's at. I'd be like, oh, we're eating Chinese food. Is it free? Yep. Gone. Where's it at? I'm all day, all day. Hey, we're having a barbecue. Guess where I'm at? You know what I'm saying? Free food. That's all I'm saying. Popeyes even offers free food to get them through a trial run. Hey, look, NFL, I'm not saying anything except for give them a trial run. Let's get a sample size before we go giving them a bunch of money that we don't know if they're going to even be worth it.
I mean, that's if that's what we're going with the market value thing, and he's next in line. I just think that's a bad precedent, and it's been a precedent that's been set in the NFL for years now. But with the Jordan Love situation, that's ridiculous. Now, look, again, we here on Breath of Fresh Air, in no way, shape, or form is trying to say we don't want these guys to get their money. No, get paid. Go get your money. Do what you got to do to get your money. I get it. But, man.
But, if you're going to throw away money like that, bro, give me a try.
Yeah.
Give me a try and see. Let's see where it goes. Like you're giving them a try. Give me a try, and we'll see where it goes. You know, pay me today money. Pay me today money, and let's see where it goes.
And it continues to speak to the quarterback market, Patrick. Like if these are the guys who are basically your highest paid players in the league, then it continues to speak on how dire the quarterback market is. And I can't help but continue to hear how everybody talks about the quarterback position being so important. And I get it. It is important. But when the play across the league is mediocre at best, I have a hard time believing this is the position that is just nobody can stop talking about. I don't know. I get, again, it is very, very important, and I can get down with the argument if you want to say it's the most important position in sports. I can get down with that, but there's no good quarterbacks. Like we can count on our hands how many elite guys there are. On one hand, how many elite guys there is. So the fact these teams continue to chase this guy, and then they may think they have him, but not quite, and now they get into this kerfuffle, if you want to call it that. They get into this kerfuffle of, do we want to pay this person $50 million a year because it's his turn? To me, you shouldn't get in that kerfuffle. Here's what he's done. This is what's happening. Do you feel?
Hold on. What a nice word.
Oh, you like
That's a beautiful word, Stephen A. Smith. Keep coming up with new ones. I love it.
No, a kerfuffle is way better than.
That is way better than not like crap he comes up with. I scratch my head and I'm like, what?
It's way better
word. It's such a good word, Charles. Did you look that up? Was that the word of the day on Google?
No. I'll tell you where I heard it. It was during a Steph Curry press conference, and kerfuffle is basically a better way of saying you're in a little bit of a pickle, more or less.
Yeah, a rock in a hard place.
Yeah, it's way better than
a unique word. What a unique word.
Love it.
Okay, so I'm challenging you now. You got to come up with one of those words every show now.
I can't do that.
Oh, come on. Yeah, that's a unique word. You can't beat that one.
that just kind of sprung up, man. I like it.
You should make $50 million a year.
You know what's really funny?
You're due. You threw out a good word out there, so now you make $50 million.
You let about 30 seconds ride before you were just like,
Well, I wanted to see how many times you were going to say it, and you just kept going, and I was like, should I let it ride? No, I'm not letting it ride. I got to say something now.
I mean, look, I could say S show because that's kind of what it is.
No, go back to the other one.
Okay, kerfuffle's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kerfuffle. What? How do you say it again?
Kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. We're good. $50 million coming your way. 5-year contract for saying that word. That's it. That's how you get $50 million a year contract. That's it.
Look, Patrick, it is actually a word. I did not make this up. You could Google it.
Well,
it is a word.
Well, I will say this about your statement on making it a quarterbacks being the most important position in all of sports. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say I confirm nor deny that, but I will say this. I'd entertain that argument with anybody, and then I would throw out there that catching is one of the most important positions in all of baseball, or all of sports, because
a goalie.
Yeah, or a goalie. Soccer or hockey. I mean, lacrosse, I haven't really seen a point in a goalie yet. They can't stop crap. but other than that,
pitchers in baseball.
But here, hey, how about this one? Running backs. When they send that extra man, when that extra linebacker comes off the defense, who's going to block?
You know what? And speaking of that, Patrick, running backs. To me, it's a crime, an absolute crime, how that position has been so devalued over time.
I'm telling you.
I don't
understand. That's like the
that.
one position that is, I mean, to me, that is the one position you don't devalue. And they have devalued it so much to the point where it's like, he's just an extra wide receiver.
Yeah, get a 6th round guy to play it. It's crazy.
And then the loss of the fullback, you know what I mean? It's just, I sit and look at football as a whole, and I'm just like, what we grew, and again, don't get me wrong, I'm all about change. I'm all about growth. I'm all about those things. But you don't grow your team out of a position as dire as a running back. There is a reason why you have them, for many reasons, whether you want them to come out of the backfield for a screen pass, or you want them to come out of the backfield for a slant down the field, or do you need them to block, or hey, how about what they're utilized for? Running the ball so that you can open up your shots downfield. Play action pass. I mean, there is so. What's that?
Offensive line. I mean, these positions are needed just as much as a quarterback. Who's a quarterback going to throw to if you don't have a wide receiver? I wonder. You're just going to throw it downfield and hope that the corner doesn't get it? I'm just saying. Look, if you're, and don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot of reasons why the quarterback gets all the praise, and because they also get all of the bad hate mail too. They get the praise. They get all the glory and all the hate. Yep.
They get all the glory and all the hate. And, that's fine. I don't mind to look at a quarterback and go, I'll pay you more to do that. I get it. That's the leader. As a matter of fact, that would be the supervisor in any other position. And then you have the manager, which is the head coach. Okay. Look, I get all of that part. Chain of command. We grew up on that. But to look at my running backs and go, I'll pay you $6 million a year because I got to pay him $50. It ain't happening, bro. I just don't see that. They can't be that much of a gap, because as a running back, I'm gonna be like, okay, well then I'll give you $6 million worth of runs. Quarterback needs to cover the other 50 because you're paying him a lot more. And the wide receiver, I'll be like, look, man, you met your quota when you hit the 4 million, and I caught the 8 passes, and the 2 touchdowns you met your quota, bro, for the year, because you only paid me $800,000 a year. No, I know that they're not getting paid that, but I mean, I'd be putting them on quotas, man. And like, the wide receiver is just as important as anybody else. Just like you cannot value one position over the other because you need all positions to do the job. I don't mind certain positions getting more, but I mean, and seniority, obviously seniority. But at a certain point, I can't be paying my quarterback $100 million a year so that I can pay my wide receiver of my wide receivers 5. That doesn't make sense to me. There can't be that much of a gap. You see what I'm saying? So the quarterbacks are going to have to calm down. They're going to have to calm down.
The running backs, and the running backs are your ultimate utility guys. They are the person who, well, obviously they run the ball unless you're playing, sorry for this shot, unless you're playing for the Atlanta Falcons. And Bijan Robinson is more of a receiver than running back. We'll see if that changes this year. But
well, guess what? Guess who's not holding their breath?
And no rants. And
I'm going to try my best not to.
Oh, shoot. That's my dude, Jason. Man, I knew him back in Dallas when I was down there, man. Seeing him down in the Raising Cane's restaurant. What you know about the Raising Cane's restaurant, Patrick? You know? So, man, good to see you on here, Jason. Appreciate you, man. And I hope everything's going all right for you. Yeah, I know. I got you, Jason. I got you, Jason. Yeah, you know. I got you. Yeah, man. You know, I couldn't forget him, man. He was cool. Like I said, met him in the Raising Cane's restaurant. So
man, you don't forget anything. I can ask you who won the first 50 Super Bowls, and you'd pull that out of your ass somehow.
I think I could get about 45 of them.
And here's what's sad: you can get it right and in a row. That's right. I don't know how you do it.
Nah, man, but with the running backs though, yes, they are the ultimate utility guys. They run the football. They, like you said, they pick up free running blitzers. They protect the quarterbacks front side and back side on those blitzes, and then they can get out and make a pass or catch a pass, be that outlet for the quarterback if he needs somebody to dump the ball off before he gets smashed. And so the whole devaluing of positions, I just don't get how that happens when you're in a sport that is ultimately like the ultimate team sport. You have 11 players on each side. If one of them are off, that whole play dies. It's done. And just that margin for error and how people have to be so connected for a play to work, let alone go through a whole game to work, that's not happening like that in any other sport. Not to that level. Like, I mean,
not to have 11 people on the same page for 3 hours. No. Yeah. and here's what's crazy is that the page will change every 46 seconds. That's where you really have to think about like the ultimate team sport being football, because it is. Any other sport that you look at is a individual effort to the greater good. You don't get that individual effort to a greater good. You're constantly blocking 2-on-1 or 1-on-2, or you got to pick up this block so that this happens, or you got to do this so this or this and this, and it's all a chain effect. You put baseball out there, I can go for 4 and still win a game. There's room for failure in baseball, but I always tell people you are going to fail 75 to 80% of the time in baseball. So, you know, like, I mean, it's like I tell all the people when I'm coaching, I was like, hey, what do you do with your kids when he goes 4 for 4? And they're like, oh, I take him out for ice cream. Like, fantastic. Good for you. What happens when he goes 0 for 4? Well, I give him a lecture. I was like, hell no, you take him for ice cream. Take that kid for ice cream. Because in baseball, you are going to fail more. In football, you can't fail. It has to be precise, on the same page every single time. The ultimate team sport. And devaluing those positions does not go well with me. I don't like it. It's just you can't overshadow a defensive tackle because your linebacker is the best linebacker ever to be seen on the field. So we're going to pay him $30 million, and we're going to pay this defensive tackle $250,000. No, that doesn't work.
Well, Patrick, we're going to continue to talk about this, especially with the football season getting closer to us. So, we'll, of course, okay, that'll be the time to rant, of course.
Yeah, I'll rant about Falcons then because, there ain't no point. Well, I don't even know why I would even rant anyway because there ain't no point. We got Kirk freaking Cousins.
Well, Patrick, we're moving on.
There's enough Falcons fans ranting right now. So
you said Kirk Cousins. It's time to move on.
Yeah, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Get me moving.
Let's get to a more pleasant topic, and that is Major League Baseball's trade deadline, Patrick.
Yeah, baby.
So the trade deadline passed today, and looking at some of these deals. So what I would say about this particular trade deadline, and of course, I would love to get your thoughts on this. It wasn't really one of those trade deadlines that had any blockbuster moves per se, but they were good, solid moves, particularly by the Seattle Mariners, who picked up Randy Arozarena from the Tampa Bay Rays. I really like that move for them. I saw what the Atlanta Braves did, bringing Jorge Soler back. Of course, he was y'all MVP in the 2021 World Series. And then the New York Yankees made a good move. They got a Jazz Chisholm, I think, from the Miami Marlins. And he, from what I'm seeing in this game against the Philadelphia Phillies, he's kind of doing his thing. But it's the Yankees, and the Yankees are doing what they normally do, which is doubling down on offense. So
which is what they always do.
Yeah. So I don't really, in the big picture, I don't know how that move gets them to the World Series. I know there are people out there who think they're going to the World Series. I don't see that with the Yankees. I just have to see it to believe it. But people like that move, and it was a good move to get Jazz Chisholm. But then some of the rules, you got the Padres. They went and got Tanner Scott from the Marlins as well. So it looks like, Patrick, it looks like the Florida teams are just doing fire sales. That's what it looks like.
That's what I kind of got out of it. Now, I haven't really sat and looked at all the trades. I did see that I did see the Dodgers got
Flaherty. That's a good pick.
I thought that was a good pickup for them. That really solidifies their rotation. For the bullpen, and there was one other one that I saw. I'm trying to find it because there was one I saw. I just don't remember who it was. But yeah, either way the case may be, it looked like Florida just went on an all-out set. They just sold out. They just sold out and got it right to everybody. At that point, hey, just saying, throwing it out there. You got two people right here that's willing to make $250,000 a year. Just saying. Just saying. You need to get that sell out, and you only want to spend $500,000 for two of us. I'll work that deal out. I'll be my own manager. Just saying.
Both the Florida teams. I mean, the Rays, they just said, yeah, we got some players. What are you willing to give us? Oh, you want to give us a couple of top prospects? Cool. We're all about it. And the Rays were kind of in a situation where they were stuck. They're good, but can they challenge those upper teams? And I guess they made the decision to say, we don't really see ourselves competing. And it's not, they weren't that far behind. I think they were on average 9 to 10 games behind the Baltimore Orioles for first place in the AL East on average. And that fluctuates, of course, within the day. But they didn't know if they were there where they could compete. And I guess they just said it's going to get down to the point where, like, a guy like Arozarena, they were going to have to pay him eventually. and maybe they just said to themselves, "We're going to just let them go. We'll trade them and basically start over." The Marlins, I think they've been rebuilding for 8 years now, so they're continuing their fire sale.
Yeah, I found that one. The Guardians picking up Lane Thomas.
Yes,
That was a
that's
good
right.
one. That was
That's
a
a
good
good one. And
one.
Cleveland been losing a little bit of ground. Remember, they were kind of running away. Looked like they were going to run away with the Central, but the Minnesota Twins has kind of made up some ground on them. So
Yeah,
that's a good
and they needed Thomas to solidify that lineup, because adding him in there, I mean, I don't know where they're going to put him yet. I kind of looked at I mean, I can see him going around somewhere between third and sixth in that lineup, and wherever they put him in that third to sixth is really going to solidify that lineup and give them a little bit more to go for. I cannot remember who's in the Guardians' fourth spot.
I thought it was his name's escaping me. I thought it was
Ramirez.
yes,
Ramirez.
I thought
Yeah.
it was Ramirez.
So if you put Thomas at 3, I don't know. I really haven't paid a lot of attention to the Guardians. I'm gonna have to watch that, because that's gonna be interesting. Because if they put him at the 3, then you really can't walk him. You know, you can't walk to get him. You know what I mean? Because now you got 3, 4, and 5. Because I'm gonna say Quan 5. Stephen Quan.
Yeah, I think I would put Ramirez at the 3 because
I'd put Ramirez at the 3. No, yeah, I'll put Ramirez at the 3, because you really need those RBIs in the first inning in that home run, and then maybe move Quan up to 4, and then put Thomas at 5. That might be a pretty good stack right there.
now
Or maybe Quan might be 1, because he's got a hell of a batting average. He might be 1 or 2 actually.
yeah,
I don't know. I'd have to move the Guardian.
I can see Quan being lead off, but I'd have to look at their lineup too.
It's driving me nuts, because I'm sitting here thinking, like, where would you put him?
So, like, I think about it, like I could use Ramirez. Not saying he has the pop like what Aaron Judge has for the New York Yankees, but they have him at the 3 right now, hitting behind Juan Soto. Yeah, Soto's the 2, Judge is the 3. And that looks like it's just the perfect spot for him. And he is. I've seen a few of these games. I don't know. Did you catch the text that I sent you on Saturday where I said, "All right, look, man, pitch clock be damned. Yankees Red Sox is still going to go 4 hours." And so I was catching a Yankees Red Sox game, of course, and they're playing the Philadelphia Phillies right now. And Aaron Judge he's been kind of like this all year, but he's been rushing the ball. He had 2 home runs yesterday. And like he's been crushing at that 3 spot. And I could see the Guardians putting Ramirez there, especially with Thomas being there now. You put him there at the 3 spot. If they didn't have him there already, I'm not for sure. Because I'm like you, I haven't seen a lot of the Guardians, but I know
I'm trying to find their lineup right now, because I would love to see what they're doing.
go to they're playing tonight, right? You just hit that lineup up.
So pretty much it. Wow. Okay. Okay, so Stephen Quan leads off. Lane Thomas will be 2. Ramirez will be 3, and Naylor. Oh my God, I forgot they had Naylor.
That's right. Yeah, they do have Naylor.
So and then they also got Angel Martinez. Oh wow. Those first 5 batters. Holy crap, dude.
So getting Thomas solidifies that.
Lane Thomas, yeah, that's gonna be tough, because that moves Angel Martinez down to the 5th, and they took out. It looks like they're taking out David Fry as the DH, and they're putting. Who are they putting in as the DH?
So So why you're looking at that,
Ramirez. They got Ramirez as DH.
which that could work.
Yeah.
That definitely work. Absolutely.
Instead of having him play at third.
And while you're looking at that, I think so. There was something. So the Orioles didn't do too much. I know there were some people who said, "Man, this is a perfect opportunity for the Orioles to cash in, get you somebody, get you a dude that could solidify the lineup or maybe solidify the pitching staff." They got somebody from the White Sox, if I remember right. Yeah, they got Eloy Jimenez. He's an outfielder there then with the White Sox. If you're playing for the White Sox, you're just having a rough season all the way around anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe a change of scenery for him will help solidify some things for Baltimore. Baltimore has so much young talent, though, and I think they're fine. Like I didn't really look at Baltimore as one of those teams that needed to make a move, needed to get rid of some of the prospects to get some big bat or some guy. I think they're fine doing what they have, and those guys will get better with time.
Yeah, and they're in a little bit of a lull right now. But hey, they took over first in the East. So, I mean, even though I'm saying they're in a lull,
they're good. Like,
they're good. You know,
good.
Right now,
they didn't need to make any big moves.
And Boston's starting to put some stuff together.
I think Boston's a year early, actually. Like I didn't think Boston going into the season, I didn't think they would be right in the thick of the wild card race, but they are right in the thick of it. And those young players they have played some good ball for them too. I mean, their leadoff hitter, Duran, he was the MVP of the All-Star game, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And the pitching has been better than we might have thought going into the season. So, I mean, going back to what we said, I would say, when did we say this, Patrick? In May, watch the Braves and the Red Sox, those two teams, because I think they're in a position where, for whatever reason, whether they had low expectations or injuries, those two teams are in perfect positions to get your last, maybe second wild card and go on one of these crazy runs toward the World Series.
Yep, and with you could also say Minnesota Twins could do that as well.
Yeah, so, unless they play the Yankees, they just can't seem to beat the Yankees for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. They cannot beat the Yankees in anything.
And as always, watch those Cardinals.
Always. Watch
those Cardinals, man. They could be on some. They could be on some other stuff, man. Quick.
So I mean, here it is, man. So I mean, trade deadline pass. Looks like everybody's ready. I really like those moves that the Seattle Mariners made, because you get a Rosarena's bat in there with is it Julio Rodriguez?
Mm-hmm.
You get those two bats together, man. That makes they already had good pitching. So
they start doing some damage, and when they do,
yeah. Well, Patrick, let's move on to this topic about the TV rights for the NBA. So here's what happened, and now they're in court, by the way. Go figure, they're in court. Everybody's in court. So what you have is the NBA wanted to have their TV rights deal finalized. This will kick in 2025. Disney, which of course is the parent company of ESPN and ABC, and NBC, which we remember they had those rights back in those iconic 90s days. They're back in the game now, and Amazon is in the game as well. Now, the Amazon piece is where it gets tricky. That, of course, leaves out Warner Brothers Discovery, who are the parent company of TNT. Of course, TNT has the Inside the NBA show, great free post-game show with Ernie Johnson hosting, and of course, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, and Kenny the Jet Smith. TNT, it was reported they matched the deal for Amazon's package. So with TNT matching it, that was thought as, all right, TNT was able to match the deal, then they'll stay on as one of the partners. The NBA came back and said, no, they didn't match the deal. No, they didn't. And now TNT and them's like, what? We didn't? Sue. we're suing y'all. and so Barkley came on and he said he doesn't really feel like TNT or Warner Brothers Discovery had a chance in the ordeal. Now, those comments are what I want to kind of dive more into, because I can see Barkley's point from this standpoint. The NBA is just like any other business out there. They're going to look at the trends. They're going to look at any way that is going to increase their money pool.
Right.
And you're seeing it with all the sports, particularly in the NFL. It is more about streaming. So if Amazon says we're going to throw $1.8 billion at you to go ahead and get a package we can stream, NBA is going to go in that direction, or any other league is going to go in that direction, because that's where we're headed. That it is, streaming is what it's all about these days. It's why you see ESPN and ABC trying to really lock in and boost up their ESPN Plus, their streaming service. NBC over there with Peacock, CBS with Paramount and that streaming service. I mean, streaming is everywhere. And the NBA is looking at those trends and they're saying, yeah, we'll go ahead and take this deal. So if they wanted to have Disney there and then NBC to come back, because look, Disney is throwing more money at anybody than anybody anyway. So of course they're going to keep Disney. NBC, I think the NBA wanted the iconic stuff back, that connection they had when they were on NBC, going back to the 90s, and the music or the theme music they had, those iconic calls with Marv Albert and Bob Costas calling those 90s Bulls teams. I think they wanted some of that back. And then Amazon with the streaming. So someone was going to get left out. And unfortunately, it looks like the NBA is more than willing to move on without TNT. It sucks to me because of the Inside the NBA show. I don't know what's going to happen to that after this coming year, but
so it's Amazon.
Yeah, you could do that. And I mean, I don't like this, Patrick, because it sounds like a cop out. But
I mean, I guess I see it from their point. I mean, I don't like it either, because if they matched it, then they matched it. And if it was in the contract that says, if we're able to match it, you still have to go with us, that seems like a lawsuit to me. But here's the deal. I've looked at it's business. This is the way business runs. And I look at it and I say, wow, that sucks for TNT. But I know what NBA is saying. How many people buy the TNT subscription and how many people buy the Amazon subscription? If you are looking at it, how am I going to get my product in front of people? TNT can't do it the way Amazon does it. How many people go on Amazon? I'm on Amazon twice a week, 3 times a week sometimes. Depends on how my clients want to order something. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to get shoved down my throat. It's going to be, I haven't looked at TNT in months. You know what I'm saying? Once the NBA is over, a lot of times I don't see TNT until the NBA comes back sometimes. So, I mean, I get it from that standpoint. how do you get yourself in front of the maximum amount of people? Do you stay with TNT or you go with Amazon? And Amazon has the power to shove anything down your throat over and over again. They just do. They got the money. Jeff Bezos is killing it on everything he does. I swear, it's almost like anything that dude touches just turns to gold. You know what I mean? Between him and Elon Musk, it's just like no matter what they touch, it just, woo! You know what I mean? So, I mean, I see it from the NBA standpoint, and it would be hard for me not to go with Amazon because, dude, Amazon just has so much more power when it comes to anything on marketing. I mean, between Amazon, Google, and Microsoft, where else you go? I mean, there's times where I go to Best Buy just to test out a product, come back home and order it off Amazon because I get it for cheaper. You know what I mean?
Just the streaming. I mean, just the fact they can stream, and the NBA is paying attention to that. So
Yeah.
of course they're going to want to go in that direction.
Yep. And again, back on all, Amazon has more money. There's more money, So not much really to say about that except for Amazon's going to win. And it sucks because these major companies just force out these little ones over and over and over again. Make more money, make more money, make more money.
And look, and Warner Brothers Discovery, I mean, look, obviously this isn't a small company, per se. I mean, they're
no, by no means.
Yeah,
compared to Amazon, it is.
But part of me says they took it for granted that they could actually lose these rights. I think because they have been so entrenched with the NBA for at least 20, 25, I mean, longer than that. I mean, it's been,
wow,
I would say ever since I've been aware of TV rights, which would be about 30 something years.
I don't think I've ever seen NBA on anything else except for TNT. Ever.
Yeah, like TNT has had the rights ever since I can remember. And I do believe just following the story, following how these TV rights were going to materialize, it seemed to me they took they took it for granted a little bit because they have been entrenched in the TV rights for so long. So they figured the NBA wouldn't move on, wouldn't look at moving on. They banked on the tradition that they would stay there because they had always been there. And here's the NBA are, like you said, Patrick, things evolve, things move on. I mean, they just do. Like if we stay the same, then we get left behind. And I think that was the attitude of the NBA, and they're looking at these trends. Like I said, I could see where Barkley is coming from, and part of me does feel that way, that TNT really didn't have a chance because you had Disney over here. They were going to throw so much money, so they weren't going anywhere. NBC has the iconic music, and going back to the 90s, I think the NBA wanted to try to reboot that tradition. And then, like you said, with Amazon, they just have more money than anybody else too, but they can stream. And with streaming being the major platform that a lot of things are going to these days, there was going to be someone left out, and it looks like it's going to be TNT.
Yep. And I will say this, as much as the NBA is evolving into this, look, I'm going to tell you right now, unless you fix that on the court crap that they had last year and the past 3 or 4 years, I don't care who you go to. It ain't going to fix viewership if you do not fix that. That flopping, got to go. I mean, there's certain calls. I mean, you got to be more realistic on the charging and and blocking fouls. There's got to be more consistent, more, and honestly, to be honest with you, probably less calling. And then you got to get these people, you got to get these refs to understand that not every time somebody leans into a shot and shoots, that's a foul. You know, you're gonna have to. There's gonna have to be a reset of what that looks like, because at this point, I mean, nobody watches that because it's not good basketball, honestly. And then this whole, 6, 7, 8 steps that you need a passport and your luggage packed before you can dunk.
Don't be hating on them Euro steps. Shoot,
bro. Look, do the Euro step. Don't do it 4 times. You don't have to dance the salsa all the way up there with the ball up above your head. I don't have a problem with the Euro step. Just don't do it 4 times before you dunk. You know what I'm saying? And call it. You got to call these traveling. I mean, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, that's the transition to the transition step before he takes his second step, before he can get the other 3 steps in." I'm like, dude, LeBron James can pick up the ball, carry it like a football, go in, dunk it, and come back, and everybody's like, "Wow, what a play! He's so freaking awesome." He traveled all the way down the dang court, and you call that a good play? No, he traveled. He shouldn't have counted as anything. That's where I have that problem. Like, you gotta get away from calling. You gotta call it right. Call the game right. It don't matter if you go to Amazon. It don't matter if you go to NBC, and it don't matter if you go wherever you're going. If you don't get it right on the court, people ain't gonna watch it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, all right. Well, hey, on that note, that will conclude this edition of the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. That is what we are breathing on for today, even though Patrick was a little bit late, but it's all good.
But I had a good excuse.
Yes, you did. Just make sure y'all visit the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and follow the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. Patrick, what is coming up for Bro Epic?
So I am in the midst of doing our hide and seek challenge that we did. And then we have I have some family coming down in a couple weeks, and we're doing 1v1s, baseball, basketball, and football challenge. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. This is going to be a good episode. And we're doing it tournament style. So it's going to be fun. Home run derby, 3-point challenge, and then obstacle course for football.
Sounds like a plan. So, hey, everybody, check out what Patrick has coming. I mean, there's good products out there. And another thing I would like for y'all to pay attention to when it comes to watching Bro Epic is just the evolution of when the first episode came out and where it is at now. I'm telling you, it is night and day. And to see how you have grown with this it's great to see. It's awesome.
That first episode was horrendous. I ain't taking it down. I'm never going to take it down. I want people to see that. But that first episode was bad. We had a ton of fun. That was crazy. I wish that show ended up being better edited. But let me tell you, I told you this many times. I looked at Premiere Pro and was like, yeah, not today.
So y'all make sure y'all check out what is coming up, and come these next couple of months. I'll just look. Yeah, y'all will see. We'll talk more about it.
It's going to happen too. We fixing to evolutionize everything.
Yes, we are. So everybody be on the lookout for products from both Bro Epic and Breath of Fresh Air, and it's going to be a fun few months coming up here soon. So everybody take it easy. Have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the Olympics, and we will see you next week. Take it easy.